Hey everyone, this is Ms. Moffat from across the Litiverse, and today we're checking out bookish buzzwords. I like to think of buzzwords as a shorthand to sell books. You'll run into this lingo in book blurbs and synopses and press releases and maybe in a booktube video or two, and it's all designed to tempt you into trying a new book. I got the idea for this video from Jessie over at Jessie the Reader and Mercedes over at Mercy's Bookish Musings, and I was curious to see which buzzwords worked on me. So here's what I found because science. Number 1, rollicking or a romp. I find these terms fascinating because they mean roughly the same thing, a fun adventure story with a lot of humor, and yet rollicks are for gents and romps are for ladies. For example, The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch are described as a rollicking blast of solid fun by Hal Duncan, whereas the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger is described as a character-driven romp, according to io9.com. Despite the oddly gendered tone of these words, I do love a fun, chaotic adventure story, and I would take a rollick or a romp any day. And if your book is a rare, rollicking romp, then I shall read it. Number 2, world building, especially if it's lush. I've encountered this most often with fantasy and science fiction, and I'm a sucker for complex, intricate universes created from scratch. N.K. Jemisin pops to mind first, and her Inheritance trilogy embodies these buzzwords perfectly. I mean, who can resist a world where fallen gods serve as slaves to the ruling class? Ooh, drama. I also love books that plunge you right into the action and use terminology that you don't understand right off the bat. I like learning about the world as I go, and anything described as world building offers that in spades. Also, if a book is described as richly imagined, I will likely pick it up. Number 3, absorbing, engrossing, or otherwise immersive. I figure it's a great sign if a book is described as a compulsive read. Although I do hate the term unputdownable, largely because it's not a word and it kind of conjures up the image of a book that's attached to someone's hand, which is just a weird image. I think most readers can relate to the feeling of sinking into a book and large swaths of time passing without you even realizing it. I find these words have connotations of intelligence and thoughtfulness, and I think these are the kind of books that will sit with you long after you finish reading them. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet and The Book Thief were both described with these terms, and I couldn't agree more. Number 4, hard-boiled. So this buzzword is definitely genre specific, but it does call on the pulp era fiction that I adore. Sure, you can have your detective novels, but a hard-boiled novel promises dark intrigue and a likable anti-hero to boot. Most recently, Harry Dresden of the Dresden Files series fits this profile nicely, and the series adds an addictive hit of urban fantasy to the mix. I've also read some classics from the Hard Case Crime imprint, and I've also fallen in love with Francesco Francovilla's Black Beetle comic. So yes, describing a work as hard-boiled in any facet will convince me to give it a shot. And number 5, enchanting or mesmerizing. I do know the term enchanting worked on me perfectly as a child, and I don't think that feeling has ever left me. Mesmerizing does have a hint of absorbing or engrossing to it, and there's an undeniable magic to that word, and it does tend to describe our world made a little weird. A book like Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus is a wonderfully enchanting and mesmerizing experience, and it always reminds me that there's still a bit of magic in the world around us. I was amazed at how often these words popped up across the books I own. Apparently they're quite effective on Ms. Moffat. Now, if only I could find an enchanting world-building rollick or romp that was absorbingly hard-boiled. So how about you? Did any of these bookish buzzwords work for you, or do you have your own list of buzzwords? As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more videos from across the Litiverse. On that note, signing off.